Good evening and welcome to Gaelic Football Views on CavantTV.com.
Yeah, on tonight's show we'll be bringing you all the results from round 2 of the All-County Football League, which took place at the weekend gone by.
We'll also be discussing the Cavan minor footballers' victory over Antrim and the Cavan ladies' defeat to Donegal in the Division 2 playoff for first and second.
But first, we're delighted to be joined on the show by the Cavan Under-16 panel, or members from the Cavan Under-16 panel and the management. We have John Brady, a Rammerman from Virginia, I suppose it is, who's manager of the team, Kevin Smith and Barney Brady, who are selectors with the team, and then of course we have Cian Madden, Evan Fortune and Oisin Pearson, all from Gowan, I think. Would that be correct?
No, Gales.
No, one Gales man
all from the Gales now, is
stuck in the middle, so yeah. But lads, thanks a million for joining us. I suppose, John, we'll start with yourself. You were appointed as manager towards the end of last year, and you've started the process pretty much straight away of getting a panel together.
Yeah, we have a panel. Development squads started under 14 in the county and they're going under 14, under 15, under 16, under 17. And the idea behind it all is just to build, towards a minor team or whatever. So they're probably development squads, called development squads for a reason, because you're trying to develop players or whatever. So it was probably in February when we were told that we had the job, so we're walking on from that,
You've been going around the county looking at club games. Did you hold trials as well, or was it?
No, we didn't hold trials. There was 28 names or 28 players. There was an under 15 development squad from last year came forward into this year. We've been around all the matches between the whole office. There's players obviously involved that's here tonight. We've been at all each team played at this stage, so we know every player inside out. We've seen them at club level, but sometimes at club level it can be one-sided and a player is not getting the same chance. So we've increased the panel up to probably around 38 to 40. So we have the Buntrana Cup coming up now on the 9th of May, and we'll be cutting the panel coming up to that. So the lads themselves know that they're places to get on the bus to go to play that. We have 3 games on the line, and Monaghan, Down and Tyrone.
So the Buntrana Cup has been run, like as in, it's a blitz idea?
It's on a blitz idea, yeah. It's played the one day and then if you go back up for a second day. The under 17 squad and under 16 squad will obviously be curtailed.
But it means that there will be an under 17 team competing against the same teams, or is there different draws? Do you know?
I think I'm not sure of under 17 side of it now, but they will be competing against 3 county teams as well. So.
And John, you have a long history of managing teams, or relatively long anyway, but what made you want to get involved with a county under 16 team?
Well, it's always something I'd love to do, and probably because of my own sons were involved, in squads, James with the minor and Jack with it's probably the first time they've come up that there's, none of them involved. I know what it is to work with younger players or whatever, and it's always something that I'd love to do, and hopefully will do to the best of my ability. But
and after meeting the 2 lads from Gowan, it didn't put you off, no?
Slightly. They're well able to talk, and if they can play football as good as they can talk, they'll be all right.
As John was mentioning there, the development squad, the under 15 development squad, were you involved, Barney and Kevin, were you involved with the development under 15 squad last year?
I wasn't in with them at all,
no. No, you weren't.
No, we're all new group.
It's all new. So you, and yourself, John, you weren't involved with the under 15 panel.
I wasn't involved with under 15 panel last year, no.
Right.
No.
But Kevin, I believe that this year it's been a change of strategy. That traditionally it was, I think, county coaches, the lads who were employed by the county board, took these squads and then with help from outsiders. But this year is the change in strategy.
Yeah, there's no county coaches this year. So listen, there's a good enough team around us between myself, Barney, John, and there's Keelan, Milas helping us out as well. So listen, I think there's enough capabilities there. Yeah, it would be nice to have a county coach. but we don't have one at the minute, you know.
Is it something that it's a possibility that if you need one, you can call on one, or is it that they're restricted?
Well, the coaches have certain hours, or you know, between schools and all that to do, which is fine. Like, but probably at some stage they're always available. If you want one to do a training session or that, the lads, they're all good lads. They won't have a problem coming in to do it. Like, they're all like, everyone helps everyone out. Like, even the under 15 development squad, if we're at a game, watching a game, and they bring you to ask about a certain player, under 15 player. See, under 16s you can only play lads in the last year of under 16. Under 15 is only lads in the last year of under 15, under 14. Even for the tournaments, it's just.
I was just going to say that's not a county rule. That's a countrywide.
That's across the board. And there's only a certain amount of training sessions you can do in the year. It's guidelines laid down by Crow Parker. You can only do 18 training sessions and something like 4 matches in a year.
So if you're playing with the under 16s, you can't play. If you're 15 years of age, you can't play with the under 16s. You have to play.
If you're under 15,
If you're under 15,
so you can only play in the year that you are.
The year that you're in.
Not like the old days when you could play 2 years.
No.
3 even.
And it would have been the same last year when the team that won the Jerry Riley. They were all in their last year, but then so were every other county.
Exactly, that they were competing against.
Yeah.
Right.
And Barney, you're a Lagan man for your sins, to keep yourself in trouble anyway. You know, getting involved with the Gowney lads. You have had an amalgamation. Were you involved with club teams at underage? Or?
I would have been, yeah. And again, I was involved with the senior and junior backroom team. So again, I know most of the Kearney boys now throughout the year now. Those Southern Gales were very successful in the last few years now. So.
And you know, how did you get involved with this under 16 panel? Or was it something that you put your hand forward for, or?
No, just happened to be talking to John, and John asked me if I was interested at the time, and I had just said I would do it. So that's about as much interviewing as I've done.
You didn't have to give him a CV or anything like that. No?
Like Kevin, I believe you had to send in your CV. Huh?
Yeah, CV. I think it was 6 pages long, and
I fell asleep.
3 interviews and then an aptitude test.
Yeah, an aptitude test. Yeah, and then I had to do a fitness test. Thankfully, the results of that fitness test didn't arrive out yet.
We'll publish them when we get them here.
But I was afraid I was going to be not as fit as the rest, but then I seen Damien and John, and I was happy.
And we were two county footballers. Myself and Barney played together on the Cavan over 40s team as well. So.
And that's right, you're playing, and funnily enough,
even though I'm underage, but I'm still playing.
So I believe the manager of the over 40s team is related to one of the lads that's sitting in front of you. So he is. Kevin Madden.
So if you don't pick him, he won't pick you.
I don't mind that. That doesn't worry me. Quite happy to say it out.
Well, Cian, your father is Kevin Madden.
Allegedly.
I was going to say a legend.
Apologies.
It's a legend is what I was going to say.
Put more
like he's a football fanatic. So he is, and he's. I'd say you've seen a lot of football games down through the years, and especially I'd say you've seen John playing with the over 40s a couple of times.
Yeah, I went to a few games, yeah. So.
No, Kevin or Cian.
And Cian, you know, obviously coming from a household with the Madden name, you were never really going to get out and not play football. When did you start playing football?
When I was about 4 or 5, I was brought out to trainings and all that down in Gowney, so I started from there and worked my way up.
And what position do you play?
Usually in the forward line.
Right. Do you score much? You do?
I tried, and
usually in the forward line, they kind of went to look bad because it's say, lads, that's where I play. Don't be trying to bring me back any further.
And you've had success at underage. Were you part of the? You wouldn't have been eligible to be part of the minor squad last year with Southern Gales, would you?
I could have been part of it. I didn't take part in it, and did on really well in Ulster and all that. So.
But you're under 16s last year, good enough run? Yeah,
we got to the under 16 final. We were beaten by Crishaw, and we got to with Gowney on our own got to the league final Division 2. We lost to McBride after a replay.
good games. I was at all finals actually there. They're all good games.
Yeah.
But you were unlucky to get the two finals and not, well, three finals I suppose if you can count the replay, but not win it.
Yeah. We we drew Knockbride in Breffney Park, and then we played them in a replay in Lara, and we were beaten by 3 points I think, and then with the championship we lost to Crishelaw by 4 or 5 points.
Yeah, good Crishelaw team though.
Yeah, they're very good. Yeah.
And Evan, you play obviously with Cavan Gales.
Yep.
Again for your sins.
Thanks.
Are you related to any of the Luke and...
Yeah, but Luke's my cousin, Barry's my cousin as well, yeah.
Luke and Barry and John are all your cousins.
Shane.
And Shane.
Shane's my brother.
Shane's your brother. That was with the McRory team.
Yep.
Very good. Are you in school in St. Pat's as well?
Yeah, I'd be on the Ranafast and the Brock teams.
On the Ranfast. So they got to the final this year, did they?
No, Ranafast we got to the semi-final. We were beaten by McCartans by a point.
Right.
It was a very disappointing game now.
Right.
They went on to win it.
Right. And the Brock team...
Brock team, we got to the quarter-final, lost to Mahara.
Right. So... And as we'll see later in the show, the Dalton team were very unlucky as well. But there's been a change in St. Pat's in the last few years. Like there's a lot of effort going on there to try and push football forward. You know, was that part of the reason you went to St. Pat's, or would you have gone anywhere?
Well, I would have gone anyway because my dad went to St. Pat's and my brother went to St. Pat's, but it's great crack in the school. Like, I love going. Loads.
You know that's not what school's about.
Yeah.
But back in my day, it wasn't about having the crack, so it wasn't.
Even though you had enough of it, I'm sure.
You went to school, you might.
Mickey fancy one of the teachers in school.
But he didn't fancy Mickey back.
Keep it coming, lads, keep it coming. Eventually some was going to stick, so it is.
That's it. I suppose Oisin, it'd be remit not to bring you into the conversation, because the whole conversation before we went on air was you giving us lots of laughs. But you're a son of Sean Pearson, of course, the manager.
Oh no, I won't say that one again. No.
I know. But Sean had a very successful year last year. Were you over much in Leitrim?
Oh yeah, I was over at all the games.
Right.
Watching them.
And I suppose your dad would be easy enough to, he'd never really give you a shout from the sideline if you weren't doing something right. He'd be nice and calm and quiet.
No.
No, not really.
No.
Does he make you get up in the morning and go training, does he?
I know he'd be gone himself.
I was talking to him earlier on in the year when he won the senior championship with Donohoe, wasn't it?
That's right.
And he was saying to me that he had lads training at 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Did you ever go over on a Sunday morning for that
No,
training?
he was back before I got up.
I would have thought he'd have had you out doing the shooting practice, because you're a forward, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing you last year in those finals, all right.
Yeah.
Good enough little footballer, would you be?
No, all right.
He's doing something right if he's on the under-16 squad. Anyway, so
He must be. Of course, your cousin would be Jared Pearson.
Yeah.
A fine county footballer in his day.
Yeah.
Will you be better than him?
I don't know. See.
Well, I have to say,
He's sitting on the fence.
he was the closest footballer I ever saw to the Gooch. He was as good as the Gooch, so he was. It just didn't. Injuries and stuff plagued him, and
cigarettes.
Injuries, cigarettes, and tall stools maybe. Sometimes, but he was a quality, absolute quality footballer. So he was the best I've seen.
We actually got to meet him over in New York, where he was over there, and he came down from Canada. Yeah. But he was at a christening. Was that your relative?
Yeah, it's my first cousin.
Your first cousin.
Yeah.
Very good. Somebody to. They've another one to look up to now once you start putting on the Cavan jersey.
That's a girl.
Do they not play football, no?
Down and over in America.
But I suppose the under-16 squads, like anything else, when you put on the Cavan jersey, you know that there's a certain amount of pride in it and responsibility and honour into it. But how much effort, lads, do you have to put in key into to make sure you can continue to stay on the Cavan panel?
Well, we've been on since under 14, under 15 and 16, and it's been good competitive games and all, and it's like the training's good and all, so it's enjoyable.
You enjoy doing it all the time.
And if you look at the success Cavan have had over the last few years between minor under 21s, and the senior team have done relatively well and been promoted and stuff. Does that spur you on, lads, to see how well that they're all doing you know, to keep playing football, push and try and get onto that senior team eventually? And start with yourself then, so we will actually.
Evan.
Oh, Evan, sorry.
Great.
I know you have a good answer for me.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, would you be inspired by the senior team at the minute, or like where's the hunger to play football coming from?
Yeah, it would be, sure, I'd have my cousin playing on the under-16 team and he'd be annoying me if we didn't win Jerry Riley this year, so a lot of pressure to do well, and hopefully we can do what the senior team is doing now.
Who do you look
pushing
up to in the senior team? Probably one of your own club mates, I'd say, is it?
I don't know now.
Maybe a few of them look up to you at this stage. You're a big tall Gosson, are you 6 foot yet?
About that, I don't know really.
I'm tall.
And Oisín, who would you, if you had to marry yourself on a footballer anywhere in the country, who would it be?
Aaron Brady.
Aaron Brady.
Gowna.
From the
What age is Aaron?
18.
He's your hero, is he?
Yeah.
I know there's something going on there.
poor Mark McKeever will be sitting at home crying.
Yeah.
And Keane?
I'm sure at the moment probably James Donohoe.
Good choice, good choice.
And John, would he be as good as James O'Donoghue? Has he the potential to be?
Yeah, kid, they're all good, and it's always like 3 lads that are here are only representation of the squad. Obviously, we couldn't bring everyone in here and flood you out.
Oh, you could've.
There's only 3 that answered the phone. But no, all 3 lads have plenty of ability, and they all have a great future, hopefully, in the game. But it's all about working hard from here on in. It just doesn't happen. You have to put in the work rate. And Oisín at the minute has other commitments as well. He won an Ulster rugby Leinster rugby final last weekend, and he has another one this weekend coming.
Oh,
so
God, who do you play
With mine?
Longford.
Oh, with Longford?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you in school in mine, or
No, Granard Convent.
in Granard? And you're in
Yeah.
Granard as well? Right, very good. The John, when it comes to, I remember years ago being involved in under 16 and under 15 squads, and there was no restrictions on the amount of trainings and games that you can do. Is that a disadvantage or an advantage? Do you feel like the amount of restrictions being put on you?
No, well, you have to work with the guidelines that's there. Do you know what I mean? They're set down by Crope, and they're set for a reason, because the good under 16s are good minors, and you know, back in the day, the under 16 squads, if you were good enough at 15, you were playing in some senior teams. But at least them rules are changing now, and maybe there's not as much pressure going on the young lads. But it's all about planning it. You know what I mean? And we tried to more coming up to tournaments and that to crank it up a bit, you know, before that. But it's just hard with club fixtures and everything going on now, and there is a lot of demands on the lads with, you know, training and all that kind of stuff. And they're coming in to us, to be fair to them, maybe a day after playing with their club, and these fellas are all the best in their clubs or whatever, so they'll probably have to do the most of the running at club level, you know what I mean? Most of the games we've seen, the stronger players are standing out and they're playing midfield, and they're forward and back, up and down the field. So but it's all about bringing them in and trying to marry them into a team environment, and hopefully that, like Keelan Mealiff, who couldn't be here tonight, he's doing the strength and conditioning and doing training. And I don't like using the word strength and conditioning because he wouldn't be big into weights and that, but he's all into functional movement and all that kind of stuff. So it's all the fun element in it as well, but the minute the whistle blows, you're into your serious stuff. Like the lads all know it, and like they all from the under 14 and 15 development squads have right diets, and you know they're doing things the right way.
Very professional altogether.
Well, it's very professional, and probably it's the only sport as well for scholarships for going to college, and like people be praising soccer and praising this, that you get to play for Manchester United, but how many lads actually get doing it compared to the GAA? If you go on to play county football, county minor football, you get scholarships into colleges. It opens a huge amount of doors and jobs and everything out of it. Like the GAA is probably far better equipped for a career later on in life rather than the 1 or 2 that
Exactly,
these star-spangled ideas of making it, especially.
I'm still going to play
in
for
South.
Manchester United, John, just to let you know.
Okay.
It's going to happen.
I think you will too, Nick.
Thanks, John. But Barry, just to bring it back, is next up you have the Buncrana tournament, and then what is it then? Is it Jerry Riley, or what's the season ahead for you?
I'm just not sure. Why to be telling you different?
Yeah, there's the Jerry Riley.
And is the Father Manning then not being competed in this year?
No.
Is the Father Manning going ahead, but just not without Cavan?
We're not in it, yeah.
And is that because of the restriction on games, or was it a decision made by yourselves?
Yeah, well, it is. Like, you'll have 3 games up and then how many you have in the Jerry Riley as well. So probably back a few years ago, Cavan took the decision to go into the Jerry Riley, and then they pulled out of it for a couple of years. And there's a bit of debate this year whether we'd actually go into it. But I think, lads are training all the time, and you have to have a goal at the end of it to train for. Like, that's their championship. Like,
yeah, it's funny. I remember back when Kean Mackey and Ronan Flanagan, them lads, that age group were under 16, and we were in the Father Manning and the Jerry Riley. We got to the Jerry Riley final and we were beaten, but we won the Father Manning final. But they were playing games week in, week out throughout the summer, that they were getting lots of games, and it bred, I can't think of many more, but there definitely was 4 or 5 that went on to play county senior from that. And I felt the benefit of the games was huge to them lads, but to see the change now, I debated in my head whether it's good. I can understand the restriction on trainings, but maybe the games could be higher.
Yeah, well, look, because we're in the 2 tournaments, we increased the number of the panel, and we're basically going to put 2 teams in, one into so that'll increase the numbers of games and training that you can do up a wee bit. But you still have the guidelines. Like.
And what about sponsorship for the under-16s? How does that work, or is it all part of what the county board, or do you have to go out and get your own sponsorship for the under-16s?
Well, that's $50,000 question. If you want to give us a few pounds,
No, it's just we've had the ladies teams on. We've had the ladies minor team, the ladies under-16 team, and they have to do all their own fundraising and stuff like that. And they're playing in the Ulster Minor Championship. They've won it last year, the A division. And yet they're still having to pay €2 per training session per player and stuff like that. And I'm just wondering how it works.
I think with the lads it falls under the.
It's supposed to be the county board or whatever, but there's still a few things that we're waiting on or whatever. But definitely, if there's anyone out there that wants to sponsor the lads, I think it's very important when you're going somewhere that you're not going looking like Ragball Rovers, that you're going as a team and you're dressed in the same gear, the same shorts or the same whatever, even if it is a development squad. Like, it's important to remember that they haven't made it yet or whatever in development. You know what I mean?
You're trying to further develop their skills and bring them
you're
on.
Still going to try and look professional and be professional. Like, if you're telling them that they have to do this, that and the other, the least that can be done is tag them out like a team, like a club team. Like any club team, you tag them out, they're all tagged out the same in their club tabs or whatever. But definitely, if there was someone out there that wants to sponsor it, there's no problem. Like,
the county board getting on to me now. You have to open up another can of worms.
Yeah. There'll be an injunction against you soon, so there will. We want to thank you very much for coming in and chatting to us. It's amazing how quiet the 3 boys got once the cameras went on, because they were fully giggling and laughing, especially that Pearson boy. Although I'd seen him looking back at John a couple of times, and he was about to throw his 2 pence worth in.
Evan was like, how long is this going to go on? I'm gone after 15 minutes. That was a half an hour ago, dude.
But we want to thank you very much for coming in and wish you the very best of luck in the Buncrana Cup and in the push to retain the Jerry Riley, because last year it was great to go on and win that and win it so convincingly, and it's become a bit more prestigious now since Dublin have got involved in it, so it's given Cavan teams a look at outside of Ulster football, so it's a big tournament, and we wish you the very best of luck. So to Keane, to Evan and to Oisín and to Kevin and to John and Barney, thanks very much for taking the time to come into us.
Thank you very much.
We'll just go to a quick commercial break, but join us in part 2 where we'll be discussing everything that we said at the start of the show.
Yeah.
Lovely.
On the game.
We offer wedding packages. With our one wedding a day policy, we guarantee to make yours a special day. Enjoy a meal at our award-winning Opus One restaurant, or have a drink in the atrium or residence bars. Feeling energetic, you can work out in Zest Health and Fitness Club, or maybe pamper yourself and visit Utopia Health and Beauty Clinic, or Avita's Hair Salon, both located on site. Situated only 5 minutes from Cavan Town Centre and local amenities. Cavan Crystal Hotel, gateway to Ireland's Lakelands.
Right, welcome back to part two. We're going to start with the college football as St. Pat's Dalton team were in the final last Saturday against St. Pat's Mahara. And unfortunately for St. Pat's, this game finished in a scoring of St. Pat's Mahara 6 goals and 10 points. St. Pat's Cavan 1 goal and 9. And Damien?
Yeah, very disappointing for the lads from St. Pat's and Cavan because they had beaten Mahara in the group stages, and you know they were well down in that game where they played Mahara and came back and won it. And I was at the Cavan minor game, but I was trying to ring people to find out what was going on. Early goals in the game. St. Pat's Mahara got 4 early goals, and it just meant an uphill battle all the way through. They were chasing the game by 10 points all the way through. But a very good St. Pat's Cavan team, just beaten by an even better Mahara team that were physically very, very strong. And the cliche, as we always say, it is goals win games.
That's what I was waiting for.
6
When
of
I
them.
says, and Damien, 6 goals and 10 points to 1 goal and 9. Damien, and I was waiting for you to go.
That's it.
Goals win games. That's the thing.
We
you
didn't
know,
rehearse
it's-
that, though.
We didn't rehearse. We should have.
Damn it. But
'Cause
we have a
rehearsed
video.
everything else.
We always do. But we have a video of the game, again supplied by Jerome Quinn Media. But if we can roll to that video there now.
We're just
Apologies
rolling,
now.
we're rolling over, and we're coming up, and there it is. Great quality on this as well, and I have to say, brilliant cameramanship where he's actually put, it must be a GoPro
Yes.
into the goal post, because it was absolutely fantastic.
This is a wonderful goal there, but absolutely lightning speed by the wee number 12, Sean Kearney, for St. Pat's Mahara. Just unstoppable. The poor St. Pat's Cavan lads trying to chase back, but this shows the quality of the Mahara lads. They're working and working, trying to turn over. 3 lads surrounding young Veal. I think it was young Veal there anyway. Turn over possession and away they go on the attack again. But it's their patience in the build-up, and that's young Kearney again delivering the ball in, I think. Big, strong, full forward. He gets himself on the score sheet as well, but this is a great move here.
What age group is the Dalton?
I think it's 13 and a half. But it's the full forward that follows in with the goal. Big strong man, Callum Murray, as you can see there. But he's a handful there at full forward.
Cavan with 2-2 to no score down at this stage.
Go the middle, someone! Go the middle! Follow the middle! Aaron, get back! Get back!
Just good use of the ball, quick hands.
Get back in there!
Nice little dummy. Big ball into the square. And again, it caused all sorts of problems. All sorts of problems for the Cavan team. Fionntan Murphy with the goal. Another big man for under 13 and a half.
That's it. And the quality of the ball being put in is brilliant. That's lucky there from the wing half back there, and the full forward breaking through.
Yeah, again,
Very strong.
physically all there.
This guy
Lovely
is
little jig.
lightning fast.
But gives it back to the full forward, gets his second goal there. So a wonderful finish, low and hard to the corner. Very, very little that the goalkeeper could do, but Callum Murray with his second goal there. At that stage it was 4 goals and 6 points to 5 points, and I think that was the half-time score.
So it was 13 points in at half time. And this is the corner forward, giving it off to the other corner forward. The little jink at the corner forward. That's a
Absolutely
wonderful goal.
Seoirse
Seoirse
Lagan.
And
But
here
this
you
is
can see the GoPro in the goals. Gives you a great view of that goal. It has to be said, Jerome Quinn.
congratulations.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Our
Absolutely great.
compliments, because that worked really, really well. But again, direct ball into that full forward, causing all sorts of trouble, and he just drives through. This is a little bit unlucky because the corner back manages to stick it into the back of the net, but it was palmed down just into the wrong area, and PJ McAleese got just pulled on it quickly. But it was just unlucky here because he was trying to clear, and it was a St. Pat's Maharal man that just happened to be on the end of it. He probably had time to catch it, the St. Pat's Cavan man, but
It's funny
didn't.
at that age, you know, the players are, they're all different sizes.
This is Kean McManus, his younger brother, number 6 there, again centre back and captain, but he's driving through with determination to get that goal. Aaron McManus, absolutely quality footballer.
He's one to watch in the Fermanagh team in the years to come as well, so
Yeah.
you can see.
That's the two captains before the game. So our thanks to JeromeQuinnMedia.com for that footage. As I say, very unlucky to the St. Pat's Cavan, but with them getting to that final, and they won the Donohoe.
Yep.
They were in the Brock semi-final, I think they were saying, and then they won the McGrory. They are the most successful college in Ulster this year.
Brilliant.
St. Pat's of Cavan, and it's a wonderful achievement for them because they've really stamped their mark that we're not just there to be whipping boys in Ulster anymore. We're as McGregor says, your favourite man. We're not here to take part. We're here to take over. So it's but he's dead. St. Pat's are like that. They're up there. They're competing with the best of them. And well done to James Brady.
They're probably just a little bit more intelligent than him, but
We'll not get into that debate. James Brady, the manager of the St. Pat's team, well done on all you've done, because they were an exceptionally well prepared team. Just come up against a physically very strong Maharat team, and there's no shame in losing to that team.
And as we were saying, like those lads for Maharat, they were physically bigger, and over the next few years, those lads from St. Pat's are going to develop at that age. At 13, you're going to have massive gaps in size.
That's exactly, and it makes a huge difference.
It makes a huge difference. You could see the 14 there. He wasn't very fast, but he was so big and powerful, he was able to break through and get those couple of goals.
That's exactly it. We'll move on now, because the Cavan ladies took on Donegal in the Division 2 playoff on Sunday at 3 p.m. in Irvinstown. Unfortunately, Cavan lost on a scoreline of 2 goals and 12 points to 4 goals and 8, so that's 18 points to 20. This means that Cavan now play Armagh in the semi-final, while Donegal will take on Westmeath. Both games fixed for this weekend. Mickey, you were up at that game.
I was indeed, and it has to be said, Cavan played outstandingly well. There was probably a 7 or 8 minute period in the second half where Donegal scored 3 goals and 2 points. That just brought them back into the game. At one stage, Cavan were 1-4 to no score up before Donegal got on the score sheet, and their first score was a penalty, and it was mind-boggling how the referee gave a penalty. It was a long ball into the square. This McMonagall girl, she's a very good player. She was wearing 29 for Donegal. She was following it in. The Cavan goalkeeper was coming out, Jennifer Clark, I think her name is. She was coming out to win the ball. Ball bounced off her shoulder and went out to the left-hand side of the goals, and the two players collided, and the referee gave a penalty.
Oh my God!
And it was just a bit bizarre. We were all like, going, obviously he's blown the whistle to see if the two girls are okay, because there was a collision. But he had his hands out, and nobody realised it until after the girls got up, but he was given a penalty. Yeah, so that was Donegal's first score. They had a girl...
And they scored it?
They scored
and won by 2 points.
And won by 2. They had a girl sin-binned in the first half, Niamh Hegarty, I think was her name, centre half forward. She was a very good little player. But Cavan were outstanding right down the middle. They were all brilliant, I have to say. McGlade at centre back was outstanding. Rosie and Donna English in the midfield. They were dominating this game. Aisling Doonan centre forward. Then you had Roisin O'Keefe, Grania Smith. They all played well. Young Murray playing on the wing. Sarah Murray playing wing half forward was exceptional as well. They missed a couple of goal chances in the first half as well. Now, having said that, Donegal hit the crossbar twice as well. That McMonagall girl, she hit the crossbar twice. At half-time, Donegal brought on a girl, Geraldine McLaughlin, and there seemed to be a bit of panic about her. She scored 3 goals and 3 goals and 8 points.
Oh, God.
No. 3 goals and 8 points in the recent club All-Ireland club final.
Oh,
she won
yes,
an All-Ireland
yes,
club
yes,
final
yeah,
on her
yeah,
own,
I heard of
basically.
this girl.
So she came on and she caused a little bit of panic in the Cavan full back line. And within 11 minutes of the restart, they had scored 3 goals and 2 points. But it was from the 4th minute to the.
And did she score?
She was involved. She scored 1 goal and she scored a point maybe as well. And she was involved in a lot of them. The full forward got a goal, and I think that other girl, the McManus girl. But Cavan went down by 5 and then brought it back to being a point down. So, you know, they and then were very unlucky not to get a couple of scores towards the end. Look, they can hold their heads up high. I was talking to Conor Barry afterwards. I said, you must be disappointed to lose. And then he says, no, do you know what? I was absolutely delighted with the way the girls played. 6 minutes well in the second half where they just maybe weren't concentrating enough. And that's what.
So what he's concentrating on is the performance, not the result.
Exactly.
So he's obviously doing well enough there because the performance was there for them. But what does that mean now? Because again, I'm confused about this whole thing.
This whole thing, because it's basically that was to determine who was first and second. Right?
So it wasn't to determine promotion.
It wasn't a promotion game.
Well, then
right?
that's just.
It's silly, right? So it was to determine first and second. The winner, there's 2 semi-finals now. Cavan play Armagh and Donegal play Westmeath.
Yeah.
And the winner of this cup is the team that gets promoted. So
Okay,
Westmeath
well then this
or
is
Armagh,
just.
Yeah, it's all.
Why not toss a coin then, rather than play that game?
Yeah, that's it. There was no need to play that game.
No.
Plus, going on score difference, Donegal had a little bit of a better. I think they had a better score difference.
So just potentially now, Cavan played Donegal in their second last league game.
Yeah.
They've played them in a playoff.
Yeah.
They could potentially play them in a league final.
If they beat Armagh, they'll be playing Donegal in the final.
And they can potentially then meet them in the Ulster Championship.
Exactly, yeah.
That's just ludicrous. Absolutely. Something has to be done there, I'd have to say.
I was talking to a couple of people about it, and they were saying that the way Division 2, 3 and 4 are run in the men's competitions is perfect. The top 2 teams get promoted and the top 2 teams play in a final. Because, in fairness, in Division 2, this year in the ladies, Cavan and Donegal have been the most consistent 2 teams.
With Armagh very close after
them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, Westmeath are way
a distance
behind,
out.
You know, so you basically have brought a 3rd team into it after playing so hard to get to first and second, and the team that have finished in 3rd could end up getting promoted. I think it's a little bit unfair.
And on top of that, from what I'm hearing across the country, is that there's maybe 3 or 4 teams in Division 1 that probably belong in Division 2, that Cavan, Armagh and Donegal are strong enough for Division 1 at the minute. But that it'll take 4 years for all 3 teams to get up. If they're good enough in 4 years' time.
And if they can stay together for 4 years to get up there.
I think it's absolutely ludicrous. I think it's something that needs to be looked at because it leads to a lack of competitiveness.
The top 2 teams should have been promoted. And that's it.
Yeah.
Now, apparently they did used to do this, but they switched it a few years ago to try and make teams more interested and stuff like this. They obviously had their reasons at the time and thought that they were doing the right thing, but you know, the game is evolving. The ladies' game is becoming huge.
It is,
and it's becoming as professional as the men's.
Was there a good crowd?
There wasn't a great crowd. In fairness, it was only it wasn't a promotion game. It was only a playoff. There was probably a crowd of about 250 people at it, and it was split down the middle. It was half Cavan, half Donegal, and you know, it was. I have to say, it was a great game to watch. It went one way, it went the other, it came back, it ebbed, it flowed, and it had everything. There was some seriously hard hitting in it. There was a yellow card. There was, you know,
good
great
scores.
score. The score taken on both sides was absolutely brilliant, I have to say.
Brilliant. So to take on Armagh this coming Sunday, I think it's fixed
in Clonus, yeah.
Right.
This Sunday at Clonus. It's either 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock.
Okay.
I think it's 1 o'clock myself.
Okay.
I do think it's 1 o'clock this Sunday in Clonus.
And there is updates?
There is, yeah. Northern Sound are going to be bringing you the first half live, and then Down are playing Roscommon in the Division 2
semi-final.
Division 2 final.
Oh.
The men's.
Oh, sorry, yes, that's right.
The men's final.
That's right.
So that's going to take precedence. So from Oh God, I'm not sure. We're 1 till half 1. We're going to definitely be on broadcasting that, and maybe we'll get the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the second half, and then we'll be given at half time in the men's game. We'll be given a full time analysis.
Very good, very good. So we'll move on. Best of luck to the Cavan ladies then this coming weekend. Hopefully they can repeat the victory that they got over Armagh in the 3G pitch there a few weeks back. But look, at hopefully they can march on into that final and gain promotion, which they thoroughly deserve. The Cavan Miners were taking on Antrim on Saturday morning last in Killigarry, and that was in the Ulster Shield semi-final. It was at 12 noon. Cavan came out with the victory here. 5 goals and 10 points to Antrim's 3 goals and 6 points, which now means the Cavan play Tyrone in the Shield final this coming Saturday with a venue to be decided and a time to be decided. But good win for Cavan.
You were at this game yourself, Damien.
I was at it, and it was, although it wasn't a full strength Cavan team, they were in control the whole way through the game. They never really looked like, as I think it was Dylan Raythorne from Templeport scored the first goal, and then Dara Gannon got the second one.
Killigarry, is he?
From Killigarry, exactly. And after that, it never really looked. Antrim came back and got within 2 points of Cavan, but then Cavan put on the burners and took away again, and it was a convincing enough performance by Cavan. I thought there was some very good displays. I thought up front, Thomas Edward Donohoe was showing fairly well. In the middle of the field, I just can't think of young Brady. Conor Brady was playing midfield. He's only 16.
And was David Brady available for
No,
that?
David Brady's still not. He's getting the cast off this week from his hand. So, they were missing a lot. Connor Smith wasn't there. Patrick Riley was playing cornerback from Crushlaw. Very good game. Louis Fay Cooper was playing centre back. From Killincare, he was outstanding, absolutely brilliant game. Almost like a sweeper role, because their centre forward was coming so far out the field, and he was letting them go, but intercepting ball. And then when he came up and met him, he turned them over 2 or 3 times, and his communication was brilliant. I thought he was.
He knows how to play that sweeper role.
Yeah, very intelligent footballer. I thought Dara Gannon looked very lively. Possibly sometimes, the simple option might suit him that wee bit better. But you just wouldn't know. He's all the time dangerous. If you were marking him, you'd be afraid he's going to try to go by you every single time. And he has the ability to go by you, and he can find the net.
Was there much of a crossover with the St. Pat's team and the minor team?
I'm just trying to think. There was still a good few missing. Shane Fortune was missing.
What about O'Rourke, the goalkeeper?
He was in goals and played very well.
Right.
Played very well actually in goals. His kickouts are so good, and you can hear him the whole way through a game. He's all the time talking to his defender. So there was some extra displays. I thought some of the subs that come on done very well. John Fitzpatrick from Butler's Bridge scored a goal and a point. Now the goal, he was quite fortuitous with it. He was looking to pass a ball, and he just overcooked it slightly. But the goalkeeper misjudged it. It bounced over his head and went into the net.
Right.
But he scored a lovely point on his left foot, and he showed real ability there. Full tilt. They're going well. There's a nice blend of footballers and good hard workers. Big strong men as well. Killian Maguire came on. He's another big tall lad from Ramor. Come on, done very well. McEnroe lad from Castlereagh come on as well, looked fairly good. So they've lots of talent. There's, I tell you what, I wouldn't like to be Danny and Larry and Andy and them boys picking out from that team, because they will have a nightmare trying to pick it. There's an abundance of talent, and they've also now, the players, from what I've been told, the players have made the decision that they want to concentrate on the minor, so there won't be available, the county minor players won't be available for the All-County Football League for their clubs from now on.
Right.
Because they have 5 weeks to prepare for this game, and in fairness, come next year they're not going to be available anyway. And once the players made that decision themselves, that they want to make that decision, then I think clubs should back them and not be putting any pressure on these lads.
They're minors, and it's their last chance of Ulster Minor Championship. They should be playing for their county at that stage. Their clubs can hold off for 6-8 weeks, whatever length of time they're going to be in that championship.
And have them back then, hopefully full of confidence, and maybe with an Ulster medal in their back pocket. So I just hope that clubs don't put any pressure on the players themselves to go and play with them, because these lads need the opportunity to go and prepare properly. They haven't had the chance to prepare properly because St. Pat's done well. as in to prepare as a unit.
Yeah.
So maybe the clubs need to just take a step back and, say,
And
listen,
let them.
give them every opportunity.
And they're playing Tyrone now in that Shield final. Just weird to hear Tyrone in a Shield final,
and
though.
Cavan.
Well, yeah.
Cavan were in it last year.
They were,
again,
yeah.
due to St. Pat's, but look, maybe it's a fact that you're looking.
They're
at
not
teams,
taking this league as serious.
Whereas you wonder, will the Shield final be an opportunity for both teams to go and say, right, let's put our best foot forward, because we're not meeting each other until an Ulster final, if at all.
Yeah.
So this could be a cracking game. It's on Saturday now. We haven't got a time or a venue just yet, but if you keep checking out the Cavan GA.ie page on the fixtures, you'll find it there. But we wish them the very best of luck in that.
Absolutely. And Cavan ladies under 16 team took on Tyrone in Drumalee, our own club, on Saturday last. And this finished Cavan 3 goals and 5 points, Tyrone 4 goals and 9. This was in the Ulster Championship, I believe. Disappointing loss for the girls there. 1 goal and 4 points, a 7-point loss.
Yeah, and I think that's their second defeat of this campaign now. So, they've got an uphill battle to try and retain their Ulster crown. From what I'm hearing, they're just not clicking at the minute. They've lots of talent, but
they won the first game in that championship, didn't they?
Up in Antrim. But then they lost to Down and have lost now to Tyrone.
Right.
From now, I think that's the 3 games they played. Again, I might be mixing up some with the minors, but I think the under 16s have 2 defeats now. So they've lots of talent, lots of ability, but they need to maybe just up the work rate a little bit, and hopefully they can start to turn that. They have a few more games.
Yeah, indeed.
So we'll move on to the results from the All-County Football League, starting with Division 1A. These games took place on Sunday afternoon, and a big win in the first game for Ramor United as they beat Lavey on a scoreline of 4 goals and 15 points to Lavey's 7 points. That was in Virginia. That's a massive score.
Massive scoring, and as I always said, Damien, if you can score 4 goals and 15 points, you'll win games. and Ramor did it on the weekend, and they won the game.
Great to hear. John was just telling us coming in that Jack Brady, County Star, was massively contributed. He 2 goals and 7 points.
2 goals and 7 points out of 4-15.
Half.
So yeah, almost half. 2-8.
Phenomenal return, and I'm delighted to see Jack, because what Cavan need now is a
scoring
forward. And Jack at 17, 18, 19 years of age was a lethal inside scoring forward, and I'd like to see him getting back inside and maybe putting on them shooting, so we know he has.
Well, that's it. And something like that, scoring 2-7 in an all-county league Division 1A game like that, that's brilliant. It's a confidence booster for him, and it's a headache for Terry Hyland and the likes, and for any other player who's trying to get into the corner forward or full forward position.
Yeah, well, it's the headaches that Terry Hyland wants.
Exactly.
He wants lads putting up a hand like that, so that was well done.
Next up in Division 1A saw Ballinagh taking on Kingscourt. This was down in Ballinagh, and this finished in a stalemate, 12 points apiece. So Ballinagh really consolidating themselves as a really top team in senior championship.
They definitely are, and they're not a full tilt, neither are Kingscourt, but Ballinagh are becoming so hard to beat, and they're definitely putting themselves up. I remember there was a lot of people saying that the senior championship win of 2013, was a flash in the pan, but they showed last year that they could have won it again.
Yeah.
They were close enough to beating Kingscourt, probably should have beaten Kingscourt, who were very close in the county final again. So it just goes to show Ballinagh, Kingscourt, 2 of the top. I would say now you're looking at the top 6, maybe 7 teams that could all win a senior championship, which is great to see.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
Mullahoran were taking on Castlerahan. This was out in Our Lady of Lourdes Park in Mullahoran, and they lost this game, unfortunately for them, on a scoreline of a goal.
Unfortunately for them.
For them, yeah. Not unfortunately for
I know, but you were.
So on a scoreline of a goal.
Show your colours now, see how I've done it.
15 points. Listen, half the blood flowing through me is Mullahoran, so there's a little bit of loyalty there towards them. But they've started off very well, Mullahoran, but that was a big game. Both teams had to go out and win this game.
Mm-hmm.
It was a statement of intent, and Castlerahan, with county men back and everything, came through. 15 points, a good score.
That's it. And Castlerahan, they're going to be thereabouts again this year as well. I know it's early days in the league and stuff like that, but it's not.
The league is a big indicator.
Exactly.
It's not what it used to be a few years ago, where it was all early games of the league. When you get into it now, because you've split it up into Breffni League and All County Football League, the All-County Football League is a massive indicator as to what's going to happen in the Championship.
Exactly.
So, well done to both teams there, and congratulations to Castlerahan on their victory.
The next game saw Ballyhaise taking on Lagan. This was down in Ballyhaise, and Ballyhaise lost this one with a scoreline of 1-8 to Lagan's 1 goal and 13 points. A 5-point win for Lagan. A good win for Lagan there, going down to Ballyhaise and picking up the 2 points.
Ballyhaise had a couple of good wins before that in the previous game, so like they're going to be tough to beat there. John Brady, of course, who was with us earlier on the show, was over the Ballyhaise team. He was probably a little bit surprised at their level of performance. They didn't really get up to the levels that they produced the previous week, but lacking on their day to be around that top 7.
Yeah, the only thing is
when you get everybody fit,
when they've got everybody fit and they've no injuries, they're like Donegal, or they're like you know.
You're dead right. That's a great comparison, because they have 16, 17 players at the top level, and then maybe they fall off a little bit, but they're physically very, very strong.
And they've quality, you know, they really do.
Raymond Galligan scored, I think, 2 or 3 points from outside
from goals.
5. No, he played centre half forward. Because he goes for them yet, though he played in New York.
He was fantastic in New York. We'll get back to New York in a few minutes if anybody.
We'll get to it on next week's show.
Yeah, we'll tell you what's going to happen anyway. So
yeah, definitely. So the last game then in Division 1 was actually on a Saturday evening, and it was over in Coothill. Newly promoted Coothill to the Senior Championship, to Division 1A, taking on the Senior Champions and Division 1A semi-finalists, Cavan Gales, and Coothill beat them. 2 goals and 11 points to 11 points. A massive win for the Celtic.
Huge win for Coothill. Like, it's okay. You're after winning an intermediate championship, and who do you want to play? Obviously, when you go up first, you want to play the senior champions, and they got their chance against the senior champions, and it felt lovely for them. It was in Coothill. You know, it's a few games into the league and the Breffni League, so that they've had time to adjust and gather themselves. And that's, you know, Coothill are, again, they're a good side, so they are, and I can see them holding their place in Division 1A. I don't see them getting relegated or anything like that. I see them finishing maybe mid-table, maybe just above mid-table, and they probably won't win Division 1A, but they're going to cause a few upsets in that division. Yeah, definitely, and that's great experience for them. So we'll just bring up the table there from Division 1A, and after 2 games you can see that Castlerahan are on top with 4 points. Then you have Ramor, who have only played 1 game because their first was postponed. They have 2 points. They're joined by Coothill Celtic, Mullahorn, Lacan, and Cavan Gales and Lavey, who all have 2 points. Then you have Ballina and Kingscourt, who have 1 point, and then down the very bottom, Ballyhaise have 2 games played and no points on the board. So they're going to, Ballyhaise, newly promoted from Division 2, they're going to have to start picking up a few points and see if they can get them consolidated, I suppose, position in Division 1. Yeah, well, you know, I'm just looking at the table there, and there's a very familiar look to it from last year, looking at Castlerahan and Ramor up around the top of the table. Like, you know, looking at the table, I just remember last year, every time looking at Division 1A, be it Breffni League or be it the All-County League, and you saw Castlerahan up there. You're just talking about Ballyhaise there. Ballyhaise, you know, they're going to have to do something all right. You know, I know John has been putting in huge work with them, but they didn't have John until the end of February, I think it was. You know, it was the end of February, right. and that's very tough. That you're losing. It could have even been into March when they got John as a manager, and that's losing 4 to 6 weeks of training. So they're going to be playing catch up for the rest of this year, Ballyhaise. But look, there's a long way to go in that division anyway yet. So there is indeed. We'll move on to Division 1B. And the results in that, firstly with Sunday's game, Drumlane were taking on Drumgoon here, and Drumlane won this game on a scoreline of 4 goals and 8 points to Drumgoon's 10 points. So goals win games. Goals win games, and that's a very, you know, Drumgoon are Jekyll and Hyde this year. You know, they're going out and playing well in one game, and then no offence to Drumlane, okay, and Drumlane have been making strides the last couple of years, and they've coming back to being a really strong team, but I'm just very surprised that Drumgoon losing by such a high scoreline. Like, it's double scores. Crushlaw were taking on Gowna in Kinelec, and this was a narrow win for Gowna, a 1 point victory. It finished 1 goal and 10 points to Crushlaw, 1 goal and 11 points to Gowna. So big win for Gowna there. big win for Gauna, and
Important win,
a
isn't it?
very important win there for Gauna, and I'd say that was a very, very tough game as well down in Kilmallock. The next game saw Den taking on Killygarry, and this was down in Crosskeys. It was in the new pitch in Crosskeys, and it was Killygarry who came away, the away team came away with the victory here on a scoreline of 15 points to Den's 2 goals and 6 points. I was talking to a couple of people that were involved in that game. Ben Connerty had a great game for Den, but Killygarry's Martin Riley in the second half was absolutely outstanding. Killygarry never looked like they were going to lose this game, but they're conceding goals, and I know that that's something that they are looking at, that they have been conceding goals. And
Well, I'll tell you one thing, they're under the management of Kieran Riley, and if conversations with Kieran Riley is anything to go by, everything about his style, and if we look back to when Balagna won the championship, it was attack.
Yeah.
Attack,
Attack.
and that's what he'll bring to Killygarry. We'll go out and we'll score lots, and then we'll solve the defensive problems as we go along.
Exactly, yeah.
But we'll score lots first, and that's maybe enough managers aren't doing that to make it attractive. But well done to Kieran Riley, because that's a big win in a local derby.
Damn right, yeah.
On Saturday evening, Arva travelled up to Mulla to take on Cuchullins, and they came away with a 1 point victory here on a scoreline of 1 goal and 9 points to Cuchullins and 1 goal and 10 points to Arva. A massive win for the newly promoted team again.
Huge win. And Cuchullins have been going so well this year. They've been really going well. I was talking to a couple of the Cuchullins players. I was talking to Adrian Tate today, and he was very sore after this loss. He didn't even dream about going out on Saturday night after the game. Honest to God,
drastic measures.
Drastic measures. He wasn't ever going to think about going out. But what he did do was he got up on Sunday morning and went for a game of golf to get it out of his head. But he was saying, fair play to Arva. They were the better team on the day, and you know, Arva are, again, they're going to cause some upsets in Division 1B.
Of course they are, and to me they'll not really be upsets because they have county experience littered through the entire panel. Might I add to that, Arva were missing Kevin Boucher and Brian Ellis in this game as well.
2 talismen that were from the forward line last year.
Unbelievable, like they have such talent.
Yeah.
Arva, don't be surprised, but they'll be in the hunt for promotion in that
Damn
division.
right, yeah.
The last game was on Friday evening, and that's saw Killishandra taking on Red Hills out in Killishandra, and the home team came away with a 9 point victory here on a scoreline of 1 goal and 18 points to Red Hills' 1 goal and 9. So big win for Killishandra.
Yeah, a big win for Killishandra. Now, I believe that there was a man sent off for Red Hills. There was only a couple of points in it, with maybe 10 minutes to go. And one of the Red Hills players got sent off, and then Killishandra pulled away. I do believe that Tom McCormack played a full 60 minutes on Friday night. Yeah, he did indeed. He played a full. Tom McCormack, the ex-Cavan Gales, the ex-hero from Cavan Gales.
Ex-county man. That's going back a long.
That's a long time ago. So that was before he had any weight on him.
Yeah. He's definitely added that since anyway. But we'll go to the table now in Division 1B. So you'll see on top there you have Arva and Gauna joint top with 2 victories from their 2 games. Then you have Killygarry with 1 win and a draw, give them 3 points. Then you're down to Killishandra, Drumlane, Den and Drumgoon have all 2 points, so that's 1 win from 2 games. And at the bottom end, Cuchullins have 1 point out of their 2 games, and Crushlaw and Red Hills still yet to get off the mark. Crushlaw very close in both games, but still haven't just picked up the win, just lost by 1 point in each game.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, you can see that Crushlaw have been very unlucky. Cuchullins as well. There, you know, they've been doing really well in the Breffni League. They drew with Killygarry in the All-County Division 1B game, and they lost by 1 point in the other game that they lost. So again,
they're
very
competitive.
tight. They're competitive.
There's nothing really but a toss of a coin between them. When there's only a point or 2 in a game, you know, the next day that result can go the other way.
Exactly. Like when the table would be more accurate when there's about 5 or 6 games played, and we'll know then who's been consistent or who hasn't.
We will do. The All-County Football League Division 2 Round 2 saw Killincare hosting Lara United on Sunday afternoon, and the home team came away with a victory here, a goal and 12 points to Lara's a goal and 6. So
you were at that game, David.
I was at that game, allegedly. Allegedly. Good performance. The lads worked hard. Lara not at full strength by any means, and probably feeling the effects of a stag party that was over the week.
Play it down.
In fact, we were lucky to win it. No, we were the better team on the day without a shadow of a doubt.
But Lara had their
look, at Lara didn't give a true reflection of how good they can be on the day. So, but look, we're delighted to get the victory. Lads worked extremely hard. Some brilliant performances by young lads. Connor Sexton, he's only 17 years of age, but he played wing forward and gave an exhibition of up and down that field, carrying ball, linking with lads, just constant energy, just brilliant. Real good work rate on him. And another young lad, Jason McMahon. He's a wing back or corner back for us, and again full of energy, does the right things all the time. Peter McCabe was very good inside, as was Emmett Fitzsimons and Brian Clark. So some excellent performances throughout the team, and just happy with the result.
Good stuff. And the next game saw Ballyborough taking on Ballymacue, and Ballyborough won this in the scoring of 2 goals and 11 to Ballymaceu's 1 goal and 7. So 7-point win there for Ballyborough. Ballyborough strong with all the county men back.
When they have Gilson in the goals and Michael Argy Phelan and probably Brennan out there with him, they're a strong outfit, Ballyborough, and that's a big win for them. Swan and Bar were taking on Belturbet, and this was a West Cavan derby, as they call it, and apparently it was an absolute jawbreaker. It was tough, hard hitting, physical football. There was no love lost between the sides, but Swan and Bar came away with the victory on a goal and 8 points to Belturbet's 10 points. So very, very close game. Garrod played in the middle of the field. He had a very good game. Damien O'Reilly was in the middle of the field, marking Garrod, I think. Bud was inside. Jason was full forward. So they had it was 2 very good teams out, and low scoring, but Swan and Bar going well when they have everybody available. Be very hard beat.
Again, they're a team that if they did have everybody available, you'd be looking at them, pushing for intermediate senior championship status. And that's just the way it is with them. But unfortunately for Swad, they just can never get them 20-25 players together for a full season.
Yeah, they seem to be just unlucky. The
next game saw Muncherconnock taking on Drumalee. This was down in Muncherconnock, and Muncherconnock won this in the scoring of 2 goals and 8 points to Drumalee's 11 points. So the 2 goals in the end being the difference between the teams, and a 3-point win for Muncherconnock.
Yeah, I believe Drumalee had a man sent off. There was a bit of a schmozzle at the start, and Drumalee had a man sent off, and I think that probably made the difference in the end to the Drumalee side. But Muncherconnock, they have a lot of lads over in England. They've, I think, 2 or 3 lads that are over in England that they're bringing back for all county football league games, not for Breffni league games. So they're a strong outfit. When they've everybody available, they'll push on and watch them in the junior championship this year. They'll not be too far away.
Yeah, that Division 2 is going to be. It's going to be a tough division this year. There's going to be no easy games for any team in that. So there's
without doubt. And the next game proved it, because on Friday night, Shercock took on Butler's Bridge. This was up in Shercock, and they came away with a 1-point victory on a scoreline 2 goals and 9 points to 2 goals and 8. This was a very close game. I know Killian Clark didn't play, but the county minors, John Fitzpatrick and Killian Leddy, didn't play for Butler's Bridge either. So it kind of maybe balanced out a wee bit. But Butler's Bridge had the opportunities with a couple of frees in the last few minutes to level and maybe even go in front, and they missed them. So it was ding dong, but a real close game, and it just goes to show, as we'll see from the table coming up now, that there's nothing between the top and the bottom of this table in quality in scoring, because they're all very, very close. Shercock sitting on top there after a very close victory over Butler's Bridge, but they have 4 points, as do Swan and Bar. Then you go to Ballyborough, have 3 points, and then they're quickly followed there by Killincare, Muncherconnock, Butler's Bridge and Ballymacue, who all have 2 points.
Yeah, and then down the bottom you have Belturbet on 1 point, Larry United on no points, and Drumalee actually on no points as well. So that is a bit of a shock to see Drumalee at the bottom of Division 2 on no points. But as we said, early in the league yet, there's only 2 games played, there's plenty of time to pick up results, but they want to start making
not too much time. Not too much time. You don't want to be waiting until 4 games in.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I know people can look at this whatever way they want. Drumlee's my club, and I don't like to see that happening. And they're a senior team. They shouldn't be losing games in that division, and they need to, get themselves together, because they're too good at footballers to be languishing down that.
They can't be playing senior championship and playing Division 3 football. They
shouldn't. They're too good for that. So hopefully the lads will get their act together and start putting the results together. Division 3, Shannon Gales. Seesaw. Shannon Gales getting a walkover from Cavan Gales. They obviously couldn't field the team.
Right. And but that's you know,
disappointing.
It's all County Football League. And it's their second team. How can they not field a second team?
Again, that's something that needs to be
looked at as well with the county board. Yep. Anyway, the next game did go ahead, and this was Mount Nugent taking on Cornafane. Mount Nugent won this in a scoreline of 2 goals and 7 points to Cornafane's 9 points. A wonderful win there for Mount Nugent. Cornafane won such a great year last year. To be beaten by Mount Nugent there, that's a great win for Mount Nugent down.
Yeah, Mount Nugent, when they get everybody together and you know they have quality footballers there. They have Brady, I can't think of his first name. He's back this year. They hadn't played last year anyway. And you have Kieran McCaffrey there, who's an excellent footballer. You know, they're not a bad outfit. Last year, I think, was probably just maybe a hangover from the fact that they had a high-profile player leave, but they'll pick up wins, and watch them in the junior championship as well. They've lots of quality and lots of ability, so well done to Mount Nugent. A big win there, and congratulations.
Yep.
The next game was a very, very big game. Now, I picked it out in the podcast last week as the pick of the games, because these two teams will be looking for promotion, and that was Kill against Templeport, and it was down in Kill. Templeport came away with a 6-point win here, 2 goals and 12 points to Kill's 2 goals and 6 points. So massive win there for Templeport under Fionntan Riley, but they need promotion out of this division.
Oh, they do, yeah, definitely. And you know, it'd be great to see a West Cavan team going up through the divisions. And the one team that you'd look at is Templeport with the youth development that they've had in the last few years. They've got some wonderful footballers in there, and you know, it's just shown now that these minor teams that they've had that went on to great success playing in Division 1. You know, that they're coming through, and that's a wonderful win. 6-point win over Kill. That's
massive,
well
massive. Kildallan were taking on Knockbride, and Kildallan came away with a home victory here. 10 points to a goal and 6, so a 1-point win for the West Cavan team.
They had some ding-dong battles in this division last year, so they did both teams, and you know, so they're always going to be a tight match. Kildallan coming away with the 1-point victory. Delighted for the lads down there. As you know, I have great friends down there, and I believe Fragile was playing. They've got a couple of players back. They've got John O'Neill is back playing. The physio. Fergal, obviously, the man Mountain Maguire is back playing, and there was another man mentioned. I'll come back to that when I figure it out. But
Corla were taking on Drung down in West Cavan again, and unfortunately for Corla, they were on the end of a defeat there. Drung scored 2 goals and 15 points to Corla's 9 points. Probably a result you'd have earmarked at the start, that Drung only relegated to Division 3 this year. They'll be looking for straight back up into Division 2. Yeah,
definitely. You know, Drung very, very, very strong for that division. Look, Carlisle are after surprising us with a couple of big results in the last 6 weeks or so. So
they're making progress.
And you know, they shouldn't be too disappointed losing by that much to Drung. Drung are a top team, like.
They are indeed, and as you can see from the table how that affected the whole thing. You have Templeport and Shannon Gales on top there with 4 points each. Then you have Drung, Knockbride, Cornafane, Kildallan and Mount Nugent all with 2 points each.
Yeah, Drung and Kildallan both have only played 1 game though, so both of them, I suppose, have to meet each other, and they could join those teams on 4 points at the top of the table. Down at the bottom of the table on 0 points, you have Kill, Cavan Gales and Corla. So, you know, Kill,
you wouldn't expect that.
You wouldn't expect them to be sitting down there on 0 points. But as I said, 2 games into the league, it's from here on that the things, after 5-6 games, you'll know exactly what's happening around these divisions.
Yeah, you sure will. So round 3 of the All-County Football League will take place this coming weekend. I think most games are on Sunday, but we'll bring you all the results on next week's show. Now, just before we say goodbye, we want to bring you a few
club notes,
club information.
It's club notes time.
Excellent. We're working that jingle for next week, so we will.
That was totally improv.
If you didn't notice,
we hadn't worked on that. I know you all think that was rehearsed. It wasn't.
Yeah, the Den GA Club are running a Legends tournament, and this will take place on June 20th and June 27th in Crosskeys. the idea of the tournament is that it's for over 35s who aren't currently playing football. Get them back out. They're going to do a bit of training for a few weeks before that, and then they'll play a kind of a preliminary rounds on the June 20th, and then the finals, the Shield, they'll go to split up into 2 groups for the 27th. You'll have a Shield section with semi-finals, and you'll have the main section with semi-finals. And it's a great idea, great initiative by the Den Club to get people back involved that are only 35. They're not terribly old, but maybe just haven't played football in a few years. Get them back out and try and encourage them to a healthier lifestyle.
35 is not old at all.
Yeah, well, you can still play senior football in Meath if you're 35. And 36 in fact. But this coming Saturday night, the launch night of that event is on in the Carrick Springs at 9 o'clock. So if you can get the opportunity to go out and see that, all the 8 clubs who are participating will be in attendance, as will So Sad, who are the charity that they're running the event for. Yeah. So well done to the Den Club, and keep tuned to Gaelic Football Views, because we'll be bringing you all the information and all the build-up and even the draw live on this show in the coming weeks.
Next up, we've another note to bring you from the Butler's Bridge Club, and Butler's Bridge pitch opening will take place on May the 2nd. Callum will play Lurkin Mulvey's London at 7 p.m. and that'll be followed by drinks in the Highball Inn. Another little plug there for Peter Donohoe and the Highball Inn. Do you know Peter?
I've heard of him.
Allegedly.
It's allegedly. It's like Ron Burgundy. You put it in the prompter, Mickey will read it.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Ramor United will also open their new pitch, and it's been named after their former chairman Niall Dolan, who died last year. The opening will take place at 6:30 on May the 10th, and it'll see Cavan taking on Meath. So again, mark those dates in your diary. It's an opportunity to see Cavan before they go into championship battle at Monaghan. So you have the Butler's Bridge opening, you have the Ramor opening. Great. Coming into
what date
summer.
Is that? Just go back, and what date is the Butler's Bridge one?
It's on the 2nd of May, which is the bank holiday weekend.
2nd of May, and then the following weekend you have them playing Meath down in Ramor, which
in Ramor United.
Which will be brilliant. So
get out and support that. So that brings us to the end of this
just
week's show.
before we go to the end of the show,
before
we go, everybody knows we were in New York. I suppose there's a lot of people going, geez, they haven't mentioned New York or whatever. What we're going to do is we're going to do a show basically on our trip to New York, and we're going to bring you all of the events that happened.
Just give you a diary, the Gaelic Football Views diary of our trip to New York and everybody. So
we can't do a diary. Like, there's no way we can.
Of course we can.
We can't tell them that we were in the pub all the time.
Not all the time. Most of the time. No, but yeah, look, in the coming weeks, maybe next week or the week after, we'll do a show basically all about our trip to New York and all the wonderful Cavan people we met over there. It was an absolute pleasure. We'll not start naming names now because we'll be here till 10 o'clock.
No, but we know that there's a few of them tuned in now, and that their wives are probably going, what are you on? And he's going, I'm watching the boys. I'm watching the boys.
A certain Balanya man who shall remain nameless. So that brings us to the end of this week's show. Remember, if you want to get in contact with the show, we'd be delighted to hear from you.
Yeah, you can email us at GaelicFootballViews.com. You can find us on Facebook by searching Gaelic Football Views, or you can follow us on Twitter at GaelicFV.
So until next week, it's good night and...
Oh, God bless.